episode number 191 with Steve and Mike. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike Snyderman.
And is this Sleepy Mike? What are we going on here?
Yes, Steve, we have a good timing here. We were going to record this weekend, but it so happens that I'm stumbling out of a casino at the same time you're waking up, apparently, right?
Yeah. I think in 191 episodes, this may be the earliest we've ever recorded.
No, we had a couple back in the day, Steve, with me like traumatized leaving a casino at like around this time, I think.
Did we? Okay. Oh, that's right. I remember.
I mean, I'm still traumatized frequently.
Yeah.
Well, tonight I made tonight was a typical theatrics here. I show up. I think I'm done getting high, Steve. First of all, I have some weight loss bets, so that is a real, because when I'm high, I just want to eat.
You just wanted munchies.
But this time I took too big a dose and I started vomiting.
Oh, wow.
And I went out to my car, which it's kind of the good vomit. You just have to get the stuff out of your stomach. It's not like I'm sitting there.
Oh, did you eat a candy bar or something, or what happened?
Yeah, I had enough.
Edibles.
Much. And people said, well, if anything, you just got to go to smoke because these edibles are just too strong these days. But anyways, I got sick, went to my car, slept till 1 a.m., then came back in and was into the 2.5 is an $800 cap, and I was into the game for $2,900.
Oh, wow.
So lost I made one really bad call, but that only cost me like $420. I mean, still terrible. Got real unlucky a couple times. But anyways, I made a comeback and left only down like $80 or something. So
okay.
That's a win.
Yeah.
It really is.
How many hours did you put in last month?
I think 216. Like I said, 200 is
shit. That's amazing.
200 is that's just cash. That doesn't include the 40 or 50 hours I probably played online tournaments too.
Okay, so you exceeded your 250 hour goal.
So that's the new reality for me, Steve. I just got to work fucking long ass hours. Nothing else I can really do. Just got my taxes done.
Good for you.
And this, I don't want to get in it. I honestly
what's the damage or what's the check?
I told you there was a big discrepancy. Of what I said I'm like, well, I'm either getting 10,000 back or I'm going to owe 5K. But it turns out I owe 9K. So
you owe how much?
$9,000.
Okay. All right.
No, but I paid like $14,000 in taxes last year from other stuff. I don't want to get into it, Steve.
Okay.
I owe a lot of money. Yeah. So anyways, which I won't even be able to pay right away. I'm going to have to call the state of California and try to work out a little payment plan and pay them as soon as possible, though. Not drag it out. I don't like having bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know. What can I do? Struggling to get along here. Tell me about your investing class, right? Isn't that what we were talking about last time we talked to you, or?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. It made me realize that all the stocks that I bought up to this point, I've just gotten lucky, and it wasn't any skill that I've made money there. It was just I pushed all in with pocket eights. The guy called with aces, and I hit an 8 and won. And I pushed all in with king queen, and the guy called with queens, and I hit a king and won. Like, that's been my whole stock career, basically.
Well, I mean, you've bought stocks in a robust economy, and stocks are a decent investment, right? No.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to lose money in a bull market like this, and I realize that now. And anyways, the options trading is very, very different. It's not the kind of trading where you buy now and sell it in 3 years. Like, this all takes place within 25 minutes to an hour. It's like quick.
So that's what this course is about. Just spinning it up the little quick profits each day.
Yes, dude. It is exactly like poker. You're recognizing patterns and you fire. And, you hold on to your hand for about 45 minutes and then you're out. And It's amazing. It really is. I wouldn't even know how to teach it. It's just like, but all I can tell you is like, it is exactly like playing poker. It's so fucking similar. Bankroll management, everything.
Well, let's
I've
not
been
get too
learning
excited.
around. What's that?
Let's not get too excited yet, Steve. Let's see. You got very excited over 6-4 of spades, and the next thing you know, you're
Next thing you know, yeah, I'm having to apologize to everyone for that. I had to rewrite my. I put my goals up on my mirror, like Phil Hellmuth taught me, and one of them has to do with being a professional poker player. And I kind of had a revelation the other day, and I realized that I should not be writing I'm a professional poker player. I should be writing I'm a professional gambler. And that opens up so many different aspects of this because, now you can do sports. Now you can do stocks. Now you can do poker. Now you can do fill in the blank. It's like what Mark Alioto and James Gettinger have done with daily fantasy sports. They look at themselves as a professional bettor first.
Right. Well, they're really not gambling. Those guys do a lot of studying.
Well, it is still gambling. Right. But it's in a very controlled manner where, you're the guy that's pushing with ace king and the other guys are calling with queen jack.
Yeah, gambler is probably what James has on his tax return, unless he's got some other hustle going,
Yeah.
I don't leave the fucking fire department, Steve. Until you have your is it 20 years and you get it's like the military, right? You get 20 years and you get half pay or something.
Well, the program I'm under now, if I stay I'll be 39 here in another month. If I stay another 11 years until I'm 50, then I'll get 90% of my base pay. If I were to leave, let's say I just left, how old am I? Let's say I left when I'm 40. So I would have 20 years in at that point. I would get 66% of my base pay now, but I wouldn't get it until I'm 50. I'd have to wait 10 years.
Gotcha.
So by the time I turn 50, it's probably not going to be a whole hell of a lot. I wouldn't even think of leaving the fire department unless I could make $10K a month doing other things. Like that would make me feel.
I mean, you could get the Amazon thing cranking again too if you wanted. I mean, anything you do, you've succeeded at, Steve.
Well, thank you.
But I don't know. When you say poker opens up other opportunities, well, I guess you're not talking about just buying lotto tickets or shooting craps. Obviously, you're talking.
No.
You're talking about using the time you have now free to study other gambling adventures.
Exactly.
So I don't have to teach you the rules of moderation, but obviously if you're going to start all this day trading stuff, I'm sure you're going to do it the same way you have with poker, where you're going to have like a small disciplined amount and stick to that, right?
I haven't even started trading real money yet. I'm still doing paper.
No, but you're not selling.
Paper is the stock guy's word for basically play money. I'm doing play money right now on if this were a poker site, I'd be playing with play money.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought of that. That's a good way to start.
Oh my God, yeah. Dude, I would have lost like $5,000 already. And not because I don't know what to trade, but because I don't understand the software and I'm clicking the wrong goddamn buttons and I'm accidentally selling when I'm supposed to be, hanging in there for another 15 minutes. Dude, there's nothing more frustrating than knowing that you have pocket aces and you don't know how to fucking raise, that's what I'm going through right now with the software. But once I get the software down, and then I'm making, winning trades, and not selling. Oh God, it was so frustrating yesterday. I had 3 trades. One of them would have been massively profitable, but I accidentally sold it when it had only gone up a third of the way that it was going to go because I clicked the X button and I thought that just closed a little window, but it's got this auto thing built in where it just sold the stock and I didn't make any money. And then the other 2 were just losing, but they're minimal losses, So it's just like when I look over my poker income app on my phone, it's no different than a tournament poker player. I mean, let's see. Okay. So when I go to, reports and all sessions, plus 150, plus 1,250, minus 71, minus 22, plus 260, plus 570, minus 55, minus 80, minus 82, minus 91, minus $5, plus 738. It's the same thing with trading these quick day trades. is you have more losses than you have wins, but the wins are so much bigger, they make up for it.
Okay. Like most things you say, Steve, this sounds absolutely asinine. But how much? You're not going to like sell a house or anything to like. Where's your role coming for this though? You go back to my original question. You haven't started yet, but do you have a certain amount of money you're going to start with?
I'm going to start with, I think, $5,000. That will allow me to buy what's in this world is called one contract, which would be $100. So I'm not going to risk more than 2% of my bankroll on any one trade. Doing the math on that, you running 15 trades in a row that are losing, you'll still have almost 75% of your bankroll. So I think that's at least what he teaches, and I think that's a winning strategy. And a lot of the professional guys, they only bet 0.5% of their bankroll, 0.5%. So if your bankroll was $5,000, you're only betting $25.
How much did it cost for this seminar?
It was $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, Stephen. This is so you're serious about this.
I'm all in. Yeah. I didn't record a podcast last week, ironically, because I was playing poker, not doing trades, but I was so busy with the class. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Steve, other than to say good luck, but I just think even when I'm running good, I'm like, God, Postman was a good job. But your job's, yeah, Steve, with all the vacation and paid time you get. Here's all I'll say about the poker thing. Like, let's just can we assume at the very least that the investing and other things are going bad? You could make $10,000 a month playing poker, but could you play poker 200 hours a month for month after month after month?
See, that's the thing. Like, I get a taste of that when I go out for the WSOP, and
you have fun doing it. You're not like, oh my God, how do people do this?
I do have fun, but towards the end, it's kind of like, man, this is kind of a grind, But if I could do options for maybe 3 hours every morning, 4 times a week, put in 12 hours a week, and then do cards after that, I don't know.
So what is, I mean, I guess the great thing about the options trader, like I was going to go in about how the market's getting ready to go to shit, but the options trader doesn't really give a damn.
No, it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of it, is you can make money when the market's going down or when it's going up. You just basically bet the other side.
This thing is just, all this shit is just so depressing. It is gambling.
It's
gambling. This is what, I mean, this
basically, it's no different than like if you get dealt pocket jacks. What are you going to do? It's folded to you. What are you just going to throw your hand away? No, that's an edge. That's a setup. Bet it. It's the same thing in day trading.
Right.
It's exactly like poker.
Well,
it really is.
Now, I think maybe we brought this up. I don't know what percentage, but I know a majority of the economy is actually all decisions made at Wall Street are made by computers. Supercomputers are buying and selling. So they've got all their prices set for the beginning of the day. Yeah, basically, how aren't you competing against like mega billionaires who are doing the same thing you're doing, but with a lot more technology, information, that sort of thing? I mean, I guess is this, you're trying to crush people at 2-3 here. If we're going to steal with you're not going to be a heads up champ in beating the top guys in this, doing it this way, can you?
Well, it's the way he put it to us was like this. He said, okay, there's 11,000 hedge funds, which have 400,000 employees working for them, and they're controlling $3.7 trillion. That's the trading market there, right?
Okay.
Now, out of all those 400,000 people and that $3.7 trillion, what do you think their annual return is? If you were to add them all up and then divide it by 400,000 and say, what do you think their return is per year?
Profit, I'm going to say 12%. I don't know, 4 times the growth rate of the economy for these rich bastards.
Okay. 1%.
Okay.
So what this means is they're not very good at the game collectively, right?
Okay.
They're billionaires and they're only making 1% a year. Doesn't that seem like off?
Well, it does. I mean, Steve.
I agree with you. I think they should be getting 12 or 15%.
Well, Steve,
right?
the numbers. I mean, I hate to be like cynical towards everything, but there's probably a bunch of hedge funds which are, yeah, maybe that's the average. But when the economy is growing at 6-7%, when we have some of these years where the market is booming, believe me, the billionaires are doing better than everybody else.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
Okay.
What's the difference between this group of billionaires that's putting all this money into this thing and only averaging 1% and the rich businessman that plays in the main event of the WSOP? What's the difference there? There is none. They're the same guy. He gets his rocks off by playing in the WSOP because he likes poker, but he only plays 20 hours a year because he doesn't have any time. And the other guy gets his rocks off by making his money in the stock market. He only makes 1% a year, but he likes to gamble. That's your competition. And basically what you're trying to do is all that money, all those 400,000 guys that are clicking away at their computers and trying to beat the market, but only averaging 1%, you're trying to predict what that group is going to collectively do.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah.
They're moving the lines. You making these little $100 and $300 purchases ain't doing shit.
Well, we'll see. I mean, listen,
what they're doing before they do it. That's the game. That's the game.
Yeah, it's possible. What's 1% of three? What was it? 387 trillion, or what was the number?
3.7
trillion.
3.7 trillion.
So is 370 million?
I think it'd be 300.
Or is that 3.7 billion?
I think it's 3.7 billion. Actually, it might be a little bit more than that. It might be
3.7 billion, probably.
There's like 4 people listening to this right now that are just screaming the answer because we're too stupid to.
Okay, so no, actually, it's 40 billion.
Okay.
Or right. Whatever it is. Yeah. So that's the profit basically declared by those firms. So a lot of that money they're holding is just, I just want to point this out. That includes, that's profit. That includes all the business operating costs, whatever that is. This is what they declare, et cetera, et cetera. A certain number of those assets are just held by people like my parents who do not buy and trade anything. Yeah. It's just held in a mutual fund or whatever. Steve, I'm just giving you perspective on things here. This guy, you went to essentially a Christian evangelist meeting here with people who love this stuff. But no, I mean, Steve, if you dedicate yourself to this, I'm sure.
Oh, I know I can succeed at this. If I'm already like recognizing good buying opportunities and I just can't figure out how to fucking sell when it's time to sell because I don't know where the button is and the window's accidentally closed and like that's the part I got to master. Is I basically just got Poker Tracker 4 or Hold'em Manager 2. And I got to figure out how to use the damn thing. Is what it is.
So this guy you paid the seminar what else is he selling? Can I be cynical? Are you going to be part of his website, which just shows a flashing red light, buy, sell, and then he gets a kickback every time you make a trade, or no?
No, he's basically become my mentor. And any questions, any buys, any sells that I have, I send them over to him and his son. They tell me, yes, this was good. No, that was bad. This is the button you click, like that. It's, I never would be successful in, any avenue, I don't think, and I don't think anyone really would if you really want to get good at, real estate. I have a real estate mentor. With poker, I'm trying to think now if I have a poker mentor. I guess getting on here once a week and talking cards is probably part of it. But
oh no, you're saying you don't really have a mentor. You're just talking about poker. Okay.
Well, maybe Mikey, but
okay, Steve.
I'm excited, dude. Just because I know what I've been able to do in my life with poker, and there are so many similarities in this trading. Like it's just ridiculous. I think any poker player could do this. I'm sure they could.
Well, now that once they explain that it's basically a game that the smart people study on advantages, you probably got pretty excited about it.
Oh yeah, I instantly got a sense.
Where did this take place? This seminar?
Just online. He's a local guy. He lives in Santa Barbara. Well, I guess he's local for me. If you're listening in England, he's not very local, but he does it all online.
You sure he's not living out of his car? So, okay. So this was very detailed. This wasn't just, hey, get rich like me. It was. This is how you're going to do it. Sounds like you're learning how to do the surgery, basically. This is medical school.
Yes. You're learning one little niche fine minutia that has been proven time and time again. And if you do it exactly like this, you'll make a profit. That's what you learn.
There's not like you're going to have to like research companies and this and that.
No. None of that matters. Even I quit watching the news years ago, but that was one of his big things is stop watching the goddamn news. Right. You're not going to get any information off of what the hell Bank of America is doing right now. By then it's too late or it doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's just crazy. This is how, this is what, like 80% of our economy is not actually building stuff. All the money, quote, that has is just guys are just moving money around and this guy wins, this guy loses, and like keep spinning it up, I guess. So
it's a zero-sum game. When you win, someone else has to lose.
So are you going to have a measure of all I can say with the whole thing? I mean, if this starts working, obviously, and you just really have if you have your ROI or hourly down, I guess that's the way you're going to try to calculate it. Like you said, to use the poker analogy, you're going to try to.
Yeah, there's a tracking software just like there is Holder Manager 2 or Poker Tracker 4 or Tournament Indicator or whatever program you use. There's one for this. So I instantly bought that. It's $30 a month, and there you go. Does it for you. Problem solved.
Let's say we're splitting it evenly. Obviously, eventually you could get good enough at this to become genuinely super rich, maybe. But just for the time being, let's say for the next 3 years, the goal would be if 120K is what you're looking for, 60K a year playing poker and 60K a year with the investments. Does that sound like a plan or?
That sounds doable. I would think probably more like 50, 70 or maybe 40, 80 because there's no ceiling on this on this. Your only limitation is your bankroll. And I guess is with poker too, but I feel like there's a lot more money to be made.
Well, using the poker analogy here, there is something called variance.
Yes.
Very good people can lose for pretty long stretches of time.
True.
So I'm just trying to get you prepared for that. I guess try to become good at this before you quit your job, right?
No, like I really must be wanting to get the hell out of the fire department because people, my buddy Danny, he's like, you and Joe just seem like you want to get the hell out of there. And I'm like, I don't know that I really enjoy my job and I have a lot of fun, but I know every shift that I show up to work, I'm probably taking like 3 hours off my total lifetime just from lack of sleep and breathing, burning tires. And, I've had a good run. I've been there almost 20 years and it's been a freaking blast.
Well, you did say the words, I'm just going to quote you. I really enjoy my job. What percentage of the American adult population you think would say those words?
Probably 25.
No, you think it's that high? I was going to
say 10 or something.
You just don't rub elbows like I have with the people at the bottom end of the economic spectrum. I worked in restaurants and hospitals and everything. So I don't know if it's that high, but okay. You're happy doing whatever. So I'm sure it'll succeed. If not, you'll find a way to hustle. But you've got a great job. I mean, just the pay and the fucking the fact that when you go to freaking China for 3 or 4 weeks, you are getting paid during that time. It's pretty nice.
That's true.
But now, of course, you could be taking vacations anytime. You could you could have a little 30K month in the trading right away. You never know.
Yeah.
And then you can do this anywhere too, obviously.
That's the thing.
You can go to Vegas for the whole summer, wake up every morning and do your trading, and then go and grind.
Yeah. You can literally do this from anywhere in the world. You just have to be on 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. New York time. It's basically when you do it. So if you're on the other side of the world in Thailand, you may have to be waking your ass up at 1 a.m. or whatever it works out to be. I don't know.
Yeah, and you're so mentally strong and disciplined. Even if this whole plan would start off with you losing 20K the first month in poker investing, you would still just see this as a challenge you would overcome, kind of thing. It wouldn't be.
Well, my goal with this is just to learn, continue trading, continue learning, keep playing cards, and just see where it takes me. Once I'm consistently making 10K a month from other avenues, then I would feel comfortable leaving my job. That's about, I think I make maybe 8K a month right now at my job. I don't know. But that would make me feel comfortable. Now that's coming in from real estate, and that's coming in from stocks and poker, and there's other little avenues that I got out there that don't pay much, but collectively they bring in something, little stocks that I'll buy that are very certain to go up within a month or so, and then pull out,
Yeah. So what will be how much cash do you think you should have on hand to start this? If you were how much cash would you need on hand to not be in kind of a panic state if things start off poor, if you did not have a job?
Let's see. If I were to doing like,
for all I know, Steve, that's like how much you have stuffed under your mattress right now. So
I'd say probably 100.
100K?
That would make me feel pretty decent.
That sounds better.
If I got 100 bankroll and I'm consistently making 10K a month, I would feel comfortable with that.
We know you're not going to be like me, who's probably got some accountant who doesn't know what he's doing and blah, blah, blah. And I was stunned with the things this guy was telling me. I thought I was going to be writing this off and that off. But, yeah, you'll be smart enough where you'll make 150K a year and be paying $600 a year in taxes and getting free health insurance. So thumbs up on that, Steve.
We'll see.
I'm in favor of that. Yeah, I'm sure it'll succeed. It's just, have you ever been there and seen a fireman quit?
Yeah.
It's a job. Most people just don't quit, right?
Most don't.
You've got more going for you than a lot of guys. You've got a good business sense. Yeah, you being a businessman just makes, or being, you're very motivated by money here. Like, for you to find something where you can really do that 24 hours a day and not just being like a little bit at the time, makes sense. Of course, you can also probably study the finances while you're at the fire department too. You got a little downtime there, Stevie, don't you?
Every shift we usually have about 2 hours of downtime. Yeah.
That's it? Okay, I thought it was.
Well, it depends on what station you're at too. When you're running 13 calls a day, then you got a certain amount of downtime. When you're running 2 calls a day, you have a certain amount of downtime. So, yes, I've been at all of them. And the station I'm at now, we got about 2 hours of downtime.
This is interesting. I remember when I was at the post office, some guy left to start. He quit the post office, your $60,000 a year with good benefits job, to start his own little restaurant. Oh. And that went down, and he tried to get his job back, and he failed. So I always remember the negative things. There's guys who've left the post office to start a business, and I'm sure done very well. But I don't know. I had to counsel Steve, but the more I think about it, it's all about happiness, and your chance of failure is probably pretty slim. And poker's not rocket science, as we've established. As much as most people with any discipline could make a living wage there. 10K a month's pretty good. You got to be pretty good to make 10K a month, Steve.
I don't know that I could do that just with poker. This whole I'm a professional gambler thing kind of made a switch in my mind, and I think I might have been the guy that was he played Little League his whole life, and then he went up to Pony, and then he went up to the minors, and he's just been trying to get into the majors for a long time and just never quite got. You know what I mean? It's okay to be able to be in the top few percent, but to get into that top 1/10% is just, maybe there's some innate ability right there that
you don't need to be a whiz or top 10% to make 10K. That's not what I was saying. You need to be a B+ player.
You just got to be good. You got to play your edges. Don't play when you're tired.
You might have to put a lot of hours in, and you got to find a decent game. I don't know what kind of games. I don't know what the casinos nearby. There might be the only game which has enough money on the table for you to make that might be very pro heavy. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say where. What your normal hour? Normally you play 1, 2, or 2, 3, right?
Cash. If I play cash about 6 times a year, those are usually the limits I'm playing. Yeah, or sometimes I'll play 2, 5.
I used to play more and I
used to play a lot more. Yeah, I played 2, 3.
You used to log your hours, right? Would you make like $20 an hour?
Yeah, 19 to 21, so $20 an hour. Yeah.
Okay, well that's a lot less than a fireman, right?
Yes.
We're going to assume Well, when you say play poker, are you talking about grind large volume of online tournaments, or are you talking about cash, or what are you talking about?
Online tournaments or live tournaments. If I'm
Tournaments.
living in Vegas, I'm probably going to be playing.
Oh, if you live in Vegas. Steve, are you joking, right? You're planning on making a steady income playing tournament poker?
Oh, I would not call it steady at all, but I think that there is a way to calculate the hourly after several months.
Oh, okay. I'm liking this plan a little less. I was picturing you as someone who's really going to work in this cash game and just like try to get that,
I just don't
hunt the
cash though. You're right. It is a lot more steady, but I just don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 0% chance of you ever being poor in life. Let's put it that way. Just your makeup here. So if the poker's going bad and the investing, you'll go back to the Amazon thing for a while and find a few other ways to hustle money until this appears. And I'm
not worried about it. I'd figure something out. Like I said, absolute worst case scenario, I go live in Vegas in a condo for free. I got about $1,000 coming in a month from another rental property. And I can make up the difference with cards, worst case scenario, system reset, like hit the ejection button. We're going down,
Right.
So really, like when you look at that, that's really not that bad. And if that's the worst that could ever happen, then it kind of takes away that fear.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as long as like measure of expertise, well, you're talking about like, what level you have to be at. You have to be the top 0.1%. Cash, no, but in Vegas, maybe if you're trying to make $100K a year, that's a real challenge. Of course, we've established you're not trying to make $100K a year. Quickly with the sports betting or the daily fantasy sports, Mark's a real smart guy who's worked real hard at this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know that, but this isn't going to be like a weekend seminar and all of a sudden the money starts rolling in. He's been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
And he probably had a year or two of sort of apprenticeship in that where he was like a break even or slightly profitable while he studied and did everything. You know what I mean? I don't know. You talk to Mark about it. But I
don't know. I like gambling.
Here, Steve. I'm being the counsel here. Sometimes I think you listen to Phil Hellmuth and positive. Oh, all I need to do is change the scribblings on my mirror and I'll keep racing. So like Mark and like James is like I think he's like for all that daily fantasy sports, he's like as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, I think
Mark said he's the best ever. So like he was explaining to me, like he was getting ready for some betting on golf for the weekend.
Wow.
Him and his partner Pete. And it's a full work week to get ready what their bets are. These guys make their own software.
Yeah.
They make their own software that analyzes all this stuff that other people aren't looking at. They bust their ass all week, and then they have their picks. You know what I mean? That's kind of the level of their golf fantasy. I don't know if everyone. I mean, again, I'm probably over-exaggerating it, but I don't think it's like just because people are making money doing these things. There's a lot of the people trying to do the same things that are losing money. Is all I'm saying.
True. You got to be better than the field.
But you would, you're. As we've said, the main things with Poker Pro are just not even poker. It's just like game selection and tilt and bankroll management, tilt control, and right from the get-go, you'll have those on your side.
Yeah, he kept describing about how now when your bet is losing, make sure you don't move your stop loss. And I'm like, yeah, we get it. Let's move on. That's a mental problem. We don't deal with that. Let's go. And like all these things that I've like conquered in poker, I mean, bankroll management, Jesus, that's a huge one. Mental mindset, all of that, like Elliot Roe, all that shit is just, yeah, I get it. That problem solved. Let's move on to the next one.
Well,
all these roadblocks that I think a lot of beginner traders run into, I've already dealt with just through cards. That's why I think poker players would be so good at this.
To make a living, I don't know how you can plan on really. I mean, again, it's only part of your plan, but live tournaments, that is what you enjoy the most.
Yeah.
That is the least profitable part of poker for sure.
It's definitely the most variance.
Well, no, it's just there's just a cat. What are you talking about? You're talking about playing these like $100 dailies with their 25% rake.
No, no. My vision is to be playing like 500, maybe 1K tournaments 5 times a week, something like that.
Well, they don't have that enough of those in Vegas, I don't think. Well, unless you're going to be staying in Southern California.
They got like Venetian, the Bellagio, the Wynn. Maybe I'd have to.
Well, when they have tournament series, they do.
Yeah.
I don't know, Steve. A lot of poker pros in Vegas. A lot of people know how to play this game now. But again, I'm sure if you had, you would change gears pretty quickly if you all said there's too many damn good players here. This is not.
Yeah, then maybe I spend 6 hours a day trading and only,
Or you spend a lot of time studying poker. Because I think this is where I'm going. Like I was actually thinking about this not too long ago. Southern California, between all the casinos there's a pretty good tournament every weekend with like a high guarantee.
Yeah.
So you can hypothetically get enough, but there's only, let's just say there's like 100 guys I'm going to probably see at every tournament, regardless of where in Southern California I go.
Yeah.
And like, I'm talking about 100 guys who are trying to do this for a living or have sort of pro quality. Let's say if they're all doing $150,000 in buy-ins a year, or maybe 200,000, you really got to be a top 1%er. We have a couple of them we talked to on our show here. Scott Stewart probably's there.
Yeah, I think Scott.
But there's not a lot more of that. So
Corey Wallen. Circuit grinders.
Yeah, but Steve, how many? I don't know. Do we really need to discuss this? The tournament ROI. When you're talking about an hourly of like these tournaments in Vegas, I think you're going to be, if I can look in the crystal ball, within 2 years, unless you actually bank one of these things big, you're going to be like, tournaments are. As much as I love tournaments, Steve, and I've done well in a few of them, I'm kind of over them a little bit.
Oh yeah,
but it's definitely not going to be an income. Like I'm not factoring it into is like my income per year. I'm not even going to think about the word hourly when it comes to poker tournaments. It's going to be, okay, this is a tournament that's good value, I can afford, and it's profitable, quotations. It's a good investment, there's value, and let's hope I score a big one. And of course, I'm going to be doing that with some great frequency, but I definitely will never again look at online's a little bit different, I guess. It's hard to imagine me having a losing year of online poker. I haven't had one in 7 years.
Yeah.
So you might get into that. You'll like the challenge either way, so you'll triumph. But that is the playing anyway. Just where I'm going to playing daily tournaments in Vegas is the worst part of your plan here.
I think so. Okay.
Everything else is okay. Going to Vegas where you can live cheap makes a lot of sense. And obviously learning all the financial stuff. But you'll be bum hunting at 2-3 and 2-5 is probably the way to go there for sure.
You're probably right. A lot of pros have told me that. They're like, yeah, tournaments are great, but really you need to be a cash player because it's a lot more consistent income.
Do you think you could get, as much as you say you like poker and you like to study it, you've never been you've been a TPE member, but have you ever had like a stretch where you watched a training video every day for like 6 weeks?
I would say I watch a TPE video every night, about 4 nights a week. Okay,
well, that's pretty good. I'm just trying to give a view between how much you really study and love poker to like maybe how much more
Lon is doing, like Doug is studying 10 hours a week. That's what you're getting at.
Yeah, you get a glimpse of it with Doug and Carlos. They love the study part, and I like the playing part.
I do too. I like playing more than studying, but I know study's important. So,
but again, like I said, Steve, you'll succeed in anything here. Anytime I hear about you taking one of these 3-week trips. I'm like, how the hell do you get so much time off from the fire department? But if you're bored with it, you're bored with it.
I wouldn't say it's that I'm bored. I just,
There's other stuff that's more exciting to you.
yeah, at times there is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You'll have more time for podcasting, Steve.
I will have more time for podcasts.
You could actually come up with a couple questions ahead of time when you put someone on the interview rather than, hey,
yes.
So it's Tuesday, man. You like Tuesdays?
What's your middle name?
Asking the important questions.
Yes.
Yeah, Steve, this will be interesting. At the very least, it'll be make for great podcasting, as we will be able to chronicle your journey.
We chronicled the Amazon journey. That was interesting. This
and that was successful. It was successful. It was just too much of a pain in the ass, right? It was pretty much.
It really was. Yeah, it got to the point to where I could see the long term. Having basically a processing warehouse where you got a bunch of people working for you that's just bringing pallets of stuff in, processing it, and it's going out the back end and getting shipped to Amazon. But eventually I just got burnt out. It wasn't really. Amazon kept taking more and more percentages it seems like every 3 months, and then your margins got smaller and smaller, so you'd have to cut edges, and then you'd get more returns, and then when you got more returns, that cuts really into your profit, and it was this game that was getting exhausting.
Right.
Eventually I was like, there's some other flashy light over here that's more interesting. Actually, that's when I got promoted. So that started to take a huge amount of my time.
I would love, maybe you could do like a little social media search. Here's the thing you're doing, you're going to plan on doing with all the day trading. I would love to meet someone to like sit over their shoulder and watch them do this.
Yeah.
As much as if you were starting in poker, like as much as like there's all these studying and materials to do, just sitting next to over Carlos's shoulder while he played Ignition would be more useful than. So I'm just saying, this guy is selling you a lot of ideas. It'd be great somewhere in that area. There's someone who quit their job to do exactly this.
Yeah.
So beyond the concepts, I'd like to know, okay, how much you make last year and then the year after, and what are your study habits, and those kind of things. But again, Steve, I'm giving counsel on something I know nothing about. I do that all the time. The world of finance. But if you say it's doable, but hopefully it works out, Steve. Can you at least? What do you have to do to get your 66% at age 50? How much longer do you have to work to get to that point?
11 years.
40, another year and a half.
To get to 66%, that would be another year, a little bit more than a year and a few months.
Well, you got to do that, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any plans on quitting. All I'm saying is, if I'm able to produce. You
don't, Steve? Then why you let me go on this 20-minute fucking diatribe and look?
Well, maybe it is kind of a plan to exit. Okay. I could be misspoke.
In the future.
Yeah, in the future, once I can produce $10K worth of income, some other avenue. I mean, honestly, man, it's a dangerous job. You're rolling the dice every day you go to work, and it's fun and exciting, but it's fucking dangerous, and as much as I love it, I've been doing it for almost 2 decades, and more than that, more than 2 decades if you count my volunteer time. And
if worst case scenario, Steve, you just go find yourself a sugar mama, right? That's
always an option. Yeah.
Put that PUA shit to work and find some grandma with 20 acres and wherever.
in a vineyard.
Yes. Steve, what'll be next for you? I'll be really interested to see if probably the funny thing is I counsel here, it'll be like, I won't talk to you for 6 weeks. And I made my first $1 million.
A lot of this too, I've found, is just like information. So I've got this Vanguard account where I have a Roth IRA and I've got stocks in there. And a buddy of mine told me, he's like, if you basically treat that account as a savings account, now the downside is you can't pull money in and out of there for 48 hours or something like that. It takes that long to clear your bank or whatever. But if you just treat that as your savings account, you get 1.1%. I was like, what? He's all, yeah, what's the bank giving you? I'm all, I don't even know, but it doesn't even count. You can have 15K in there, and, at the end of the month, you got 15,009 cents, He's like, yeah, just move it over into the other one. I'm like, holy shit, he's right. So I moved it over. Sure enough, 1.1%. Just little shit like that adds up, you know?
Okay. I'm trying to think of it. You got to find a couple interesting podcast guests for this, Steve. You can share, and probably there's I don't really know the kid. There's one kid who plays in the big game at the casino I am at, who was supposedly once a financial whiz. He's really young, like 26. Like I don't know his story. I wouldn't be surprised if he made a couple million on Wall Street or something. Just said, "Fuck this! I want to play poker."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure somewhere on Twitter or something, maybe people can make suggestions over a good guest. There's someone who's doing exactly what you want to do. And yeah, I don't know if you guys get too technical, it might be a snooze fest, but it might also
It might be interesting.
It might be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I won a little tournament at my local casino last week.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
What was the
it was a $100 buy-in. I won $1,250.
So cool. There's about 40 people in it?
36.
Oh, yeah. See, good guess on my
part. Very good guess, sir. Yes. But it's so critical when you get down to the final tables that you just do not chop. You know? Like, it's like Mark said, you got to take first, second, or third. And even in the big tournaments, they want to chop. I remember playing at one in the bike where first place was like $20K. And we're at the final table. We're down to 9, and people were just screaming to chop. And I'm like, nah, I just want to play.
Well, also you got money, Steve, so it doesn't. But if
but if you take
a lot of people, especially,
time, then I don't know how you could be like profitable.
Well, you're reducing variance, and if you're like Carlos used to be, the sit and go kind of whiz, and a lot of the profitability comes from negotiating good chops. So this isn't like people. This is like some people in certain spots are chopping, but they're doing it with
they have an edge.
They're doing it to reduce variance, and I mean it's very mathematical. If you're playing a sit and go, and whatever first price is 1,000, and second place is 300, and there's the two of you together where you're each 650, and you're even with chips. If you can convince the guy to get 700, that you're getting an extra $50, then you'll take that every time.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Yeah, I would say the chops just allow you to realize your equity. Now, the chop, if you have a big advantage in skill, then that's something else. The chops is not tier because you're going to get more than your expected value is going to be higher than your actual chip equity at the time, probably.
Yeah.
But again, especially these smaller tournaments, they're so shallow. But even then, you still do have a skill edge. Certainly, there's still going to be a lot of variance, but there's people who are just going to be way over folding is the most common thing that happens in those tournaments where you can just, the shorter tournaments where people just still they only get their hands in with queens.
I feel like there's such an edge just to be had by being the one guy that doesn't want to chop, because now you plant the seed in everyone's mind that you're taking first, and you can like watch the table start to compete for fourth and fifth and just trying to squeak into third. And you know what I mean? Meanwhile, you're just stealing the blinds.
Yeah, possibly. But again, just pointing out, there's a lot of the chopping stuff can be quite profitable though. If you got to be ruthless at it. I haven't been. When I won the 011 tournament, the last one, whenever it was that last year, what we said, we got to the final table, like, let's put the numbers in. And it was like 9,900 is what my stack was worth. I had a big chip lead. Mm-hmm. First place was 5. I was taking variance out of it. I kind of needed the money. I didn't make it, but I was not good negotiating. I could have, like, a couple of people afterwards, like, man, I can't believe you didn't ask for more. I was just like, okay, I think the chop was getting me more than the second place money, if I remember correctly.
How many people were left?
We were at the final table. There's 9 or 10 of us left.
And the chop was getting you more than second place?
I can't remember. I want to say first place in this tournament was only 15K, and I got 9,900.
And you didn't have to play. Well, that's tough.
But I can't remember exactly, Steve. But I could have gotten more. there was people there who would have like said, okay, if I said everybody here has to give me another 100, I'm sorry, I need rather than 9,900, I need 10,800.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have taken like 20 seconds to negotiate that deal.
Yeah, you could have got an extra grand.
So not just stupid, but I'm also like I'm so. I don't want to say nice. I don't know the word is socially passive, whatever. I don't want to like put those people in a situation where I'm saying I'm better than they are. I don't know. It's weird. I'm just trying to. I want people to be happy.
Yeah.
And people are less happy when they're negotiating a chop where they know they're having to give away $100. But these people would not have cared.
Yeah.
I probably would have done that, and 7 of them would have immediately said yes, and 2 of them would have said no, and somebody else would have said, okay, I'll pay the 100. Or these guys would have capitulated. You know what I mean? One of those kind of deals. But, yeah, Steve. So it sounds like you're not rushing off and quitting your job here, whatever.
No. I got a ways to go before I can get there. I still got to figure out which button to click to make sure I sell.
Right. I mean,
but it's encouraging seeing that I'm seeing the patterns. You know what I mean?
Poker Pro is just the greatest job in the world if you got, when you're running well, if you got shit together, because it really is just because the level of freedom is amazing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm trying to figure it out. I need, I'm just, I'm still financially under it, but I think how long away? I might be, if I can run good for like a few months and just recover the life roll and look at the life. I'm not that far away from being where it's just, poker's never easy street. There's always variance. There's always stress. But if I have enough roll, like I said, I'm never going to have so much of my net income, let's put it this way, in fucking like Bitcoin or anything. And this isn't a set of a Bitcoin rant, but I'm just saying, and I'm never going to be spending so much on tournaments. It's going to be really looking at the hourly, the expectations of basically trying to make $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
And if I want to do that, that means just grinding long hours of cash. And then if I want to put some money into Bitcoin here, and if I want to take some shots in tournaments. So poker can be like that. I'm making it sound like you're taking a great risk. If you're doing it smart, and you'll be smarter than me, you can make it a pretty steady, semi-risk-free job. With live tournaments now, you'll have to,
Yeah.
You'll have to be grinding some cash or just making some money elsewhere. Or making some nice binkage, once every 6 months you win one of those 100Ks, the Venetian for $35K.
See, I think you could put a reasonable hourly on these tournaments, but like you said, the variance is just going to be so high. I would just treat it like I do the online tournaments. Just each tournament is 1% to 2% of my bankroll, and that's it. Well,
I don't know. You said like 3 or 4 $500 to $1,000 tournaments a week. So we're right there. We're talking about $100,000 in buy-ins for the year.
Yeah.
So let's calculate your hourly, Steve. What do you give me your credits? What do you think your ROI is in these tournaments?
Is 100% too unreasonable?
I think 50% is unreasonable, Steve.
Wow.
I could be wrong though. I don't know. I'm down 68,000 over the last 24 months in live tournaments.
Okay. That's not encouraging.
But again, I rebuy like a mad dog, and I don't have your mental fortitude. And it's funny, my exact buy-in, I think I looked at it recently, and it was like I cashed in like 15 of 136 tournaments for 136K in buy-ins and 68K in losses, so about $1,000 average buy-in. But it's really not that many tournaments. Like I said, 138 is nothing. That's 2 weeks. That's less than 2 weeks for like an online grinder where you definitely can. I don't know. Well, over the course of a year, let's just say you could play 5,000 tournaments a year. Then you can know an hourly.
Yeah.
But let's even say 50% ROI. That's pretty good. But that's if you do 100,000 buy-in, that's 50K. You're still not what you need to
well,
earn.
That's just from poker.
Right.
That's not bad.
I don't know, Steve. I'm trying to if you were to play $100,000 of live tournaments in Vegas for the next 10 years.
Cool.
$1 million in buy-ins.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what your expected return would be. I would say the over and under is about 150,000 profit. 15%. 15% ROI is pretty decent, actually.
Really? That can't be. How could you ever make a living at that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even the one to ask. I'm so down. I'd have to look at my tournament results here. I know for a while there, I used to brag about my.
Filter this thing for live. I don't know how to do it.
For a long time. I mean, you can actually probably calculate someone's overall profitability just by looking at their hand in mob. It doesn't say buy-ins.
Yeah.
Like you could take mine and try to figure out what the average buy-in looks like, and then just assume that I've cashed, say, 12 or 13%. So multiply whatever amount of tournaments you see there, multiply it by 8.5. That's how many tournaments I've had. And you can figure out my buy-in and then what I'm getting. Basically, well, you're right about having to win. Anytime you'll see people on the Hendon Mob, you know what Hendon Mob is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see people there, you'll know, like, day 2 of a LA tournament, I'll look them up, and it's like they've got $1 billion caches, but they never won a poker tournament in 7 years. Like, if you're not someone who's actually good enough to win poker tournaments, you're right. You're just not making money. Doesn't mean that chopping at the end is not sometimes the most reasonable thing. Steve, I don't know. I guess I just don't know. But there's a lot of poker pros, especially when you start playing. You only play like those $1,000 tournaments. You only play like 2 of those a year.
True.
I mean, how many of those have you played in your life, really? Probably actually not even. Probably like 4 or 5, right?
4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah. So even in Vegas,
the competition didn't seem to be that much tougher, though, which surprised the shit out of me. I mean, it was a little bit tougher, but not like what you would think, When it gets to, believe me, if any of these like 1Ks or monster stat, if you got like started getting late in the tournament, once you get down to 2 tables, then you find out who your competition is.
It's just all poker pros. It really is.
Okay.
Mostly, and one somebody who got. It's anybody can win a poker tournament, so there's always people, but usually the field always gets stronger as you go along.
By far.
Yeah, see what Carlos would say about this, or Assassinato. They've probably got it, but 100% ROI is really high. I don't care what level you're playing. Like if you took whoever the best players in the world are and said, you're going to play, you can't play anything more than a $1,000 tournament. They're playing these tournaments where they have such a big edge.
Yeah.
A lot of things have to go right. They'll be running good if they got 100% ROI, in my opinion.
Okay.
But maybe not. God only knows what Scott Stewart might be well over 100%. So there's probably, you got me being cynical about this. But again, I haven't worked nearly as hard as I should. And I have some major mental leaks that make it hard for me to. Yeah, Steve, I don't know. I don't know if you could roll up your sleeves and try to become the 1/10 of 1%. I guess would be the best way I could put it for tournament play. Live cash, you could find a good tournament where a good place where you have to sit there and know that you fucking aren't supposed to raise king 6 because there's a bunch of people who do that. Yeah. And you could probably after like 3 or 4 months know your hourly right away.
Yeah.
I've played enough where actually in any card room I could sit in a game for a week and get an idea of the player pool and figure out the rake and everything and probably know my hourly pretty quick.
Yeah, down to the
I could look. Cash, I still don't know. But like when you talk about the hourly right now, I'm just going to say that I've probably had at one point my live tournament profits were over 100K, but after such a bad swing, I'm going to just say, let's say 30K in profit and over 400. So basically my ROI is like 10% or something.
Okay.
But again, maybe I'm supposed. Maybe at this point, maybe I've run under expectation as much as I've won tournaments and I play bad. There's also
the multiple bullets can't help too much either. Like just firing and firing and firing. Like
I think it depends. It adds variance, but it also buying when you buy in. You're at the beginning of a tournament. your stack is worth 1,000, and then even when you have 8 big blinds, if you buy in with 8 big blinds, but you have the starting stack, that stack is actually still has the same value. And some people say it actually is a plus EV move to buy later because, or it's still plus EV, mainly because you can double up so easily, because people are just opening wide, and you're almost always going to be in an all-in in like a plus EV spot, I guess is what I'm saying. When you buy
Okay.
Maybe
I guess I could see that. There is something to the beginning of the tournaments, though, when the most fish are there. And
no. Yeah, it's punting. More your edge is greater there, but your $500 stack at the beginning is still kind of worth the same when you buy in late, because so many people are gone. So you might only have 1/5 the average stack, but
it's still worth $500, and you can get that stack into a 60-40 in your favor.
Well, let's just look at it in terms of the value of a tournament. Like if you could probably now pros, because of their edge deep stack. Let's say the main event, you get 50,000 chips.
Mm-hmm.
But if let's say you could either get 50,000 chips, 40,000 chips to start the tournament, or you could get 50,000 at 20 big blinds.
Okay.
Because of the 50,000 would be of more value. Your stack.
Can you say that, but say it a different way? I wasn't following.
Your stack is worth, your 50,000 stack is worth $10,000.
Okay.
Regardless of what part of the tournament is, because even if it happens later,
300 big blinds or you have 20. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
But so if you have 8,000, it's less. Yeah, that stack is always the same value. I don't know. Someone else could probably poke some holes in this. Now, if it's because basically you're closer to cashing.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Steve, if 100 people are in a tournament, and let's just say there's no pay jumps, it's like a satellite, and there's only 10 left. Doesn't matter if you have 1 big blind or. So when you buy late in a tournament, if 80% of the people are gone, then 80% of that equity goes towards who's left.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't buy. Probably any good pro would obviously say the main event has such. Their ROI is so high because the field is so weak.
Yeah.
So again, even if you give them 10,000 less in chips, they're expecting a 50% plus ROI in that field. So they're really starting with 60, 70,000.
Yeah. Okay.
If you got to, but if they could get 50 in extra chips, like 60,000, but right in the shove fold one where you really don't have that much an edge, they would probably take less chips at the beginning.
Okay.
Just because their skill edge is thrown. But I mean, buying in short's probably not great as a habit, just because of variance. Like you're going to fire through so many. You could fire through so many buy-ins.
Yeah.
You know, if you're properly bankrolled with 100 buy-ins, but obviously if you have 1 week where you fire 2 or 3 bullets in 5 tournaments, then all of a sudden you've gone through 20% of your bankroll.
Yeah.
But it's still plus EV to buy in late, is what I'm saying. But
okay, I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why there's all these bots online.
Yeah.
You can ask Carlos about how it works on Bovada. I don't know exactly how, but basically you'll see like right before registration close, all these people register.
Yeah, I have seen that. I just saw that last night. Yeah.
And you can just like they'll all fold to the money or whatever, or chip dump. But basically, they're making a plus EV spot, even beyond. If you just buy in late and double once, then they probably figured it out that you buy in 50 people, and if a min cash is 2.1 buy-ins or whatever, and if they all folded, how many would make it into the money? You might be profitable there. Or if they all simply shoved their first hand and 50% won, then the other 50% knocked out, but these 50 who just doubled up can all fold to the money, and you've made a little profit. So obviously the late buy is profitable. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all these bots doing it, and people are.
Yeah, that's true. The last 1K I played in Vegas, there was several pros that came down to the table, and they literally sat down with 8 big blinds. Last level was the last one to re-enter, and I'm like, I guess this must be 1% of their bankroll. That's the only way I would ever do that. Maybe even less than that. Maybe it would have to be less than 1% of my bankroll.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if just pointing out quickly though, just because if you know your shove fold and all that stuff, then buying in with 10 bigs, the starting stack is always always has the same value.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. I can see that.
10,000 starting chips with 300 big blinds is worth the same as, just theoretically, if the field was of average, if everybody was of the same skill level, then buying in with 8 big blinds or 150 big blinds doesn't matter because your stack size has the same value. 10K in chips doesn't lose its value as the tournament goes on. It loses your chance of,
Doesn't lose its cash money value that you bought in for.
Right. Well, I don't know. I guess we could talk about this on certain levels in different ways, but I don't want to burst your bubble with that. I've just run bad in live tournaments, Steve. I'm sure you'd probably do better than me, but you would need a big score in there somewhere. If we used my example of $1 million in buy-ins over 10 years, you can't just keep like, oh, well, I cashed 18% of the time and made a run here. It's somewhere in there. If it's going to be,
you need some firsts and seconds. Yeah, of course.
It's someone. Yeah, you're going to be needing to win a poker tournament every year, and somewhere in that span, you're going to need like a $300,000 score.
Exactly.
If you want, at least if you want like 100%. I think 100% ROI is really high. I'd be curious how many.
I think that's what Jonathan Littles is. From what I could piece together from him being on here and listening to his podcast and some of his, videos and stuff, like one of the things that's standing out to me is he's like, someone asked him, why don't you play a lot of the 500s and the 1Ks? Like, why are you playing all these bigger ones? And then he's like, well, in a $500 tournament, I'm going to average $500. In a $1,000 tournament, I'm going to average $1,000. So, do I really want to go out there and play for 8 or 12 hours and make $500? That may not be worth it to me.
Well, this is how you do the math.
But that is also Jonathan Little. So maybe you're right. Maybe 100% ROI is a little ambitious for me. But I don't know. The way I look at it is, I guess this paradigm shift I was talking about is that now it doesn't have to just be one form of gambling, which is poker. It can encompass all forms of gambling, whether that's trading or whether it's something else that I haven't even thought of yet. But, there are professional gamblers out there that do this stuff for a living, and we've had enough of them on the podcast to know that.
Right. I'm sure it can be done. Steve, I don't know why. I mean, I'm going to blame it on the fatigue.
Okay.
Once again, I'm just talking out of my ass about stuff I don't even understand about.
Well, do you have
assigning value to stack size as certain buy-ins? Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
Do you have maybe 15 minutes in the reserve tank?
Sure, of course.
Okay, all right. I got a hand that I've been wanting to pick your brain on for like 2 minutes.
Oh, Jesus Christ! How'd you pull me into that?
You like that segue? I actually did one good this time.
Okay. Cash tournament. What is this?
This is a tournament. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about Elliot Roe. You know the drill. Listen to the 7-minute tilt buster. The link is right in the show notes. It doesn't cost you a dime. You get to try it for free. I swear to Christ on a raft, this works. I will not play cards unless I listen to that man's voice first. I listened to it just before that live tournament that I played, and lo and behold, I won it. I listened to it last night, and I went online with Bovada. Got a hand here from that. So remember, use Elliot Roe and use the code HUPOKER. Get your discount. Don't pay the full price. And here we go. All right, Mikey. We are on the button. Okay, we're on the button with Pocket Kings. We're four-handed. It's in the beginning stages of the tournament. So this is on Bovada. This is a 4K guaranteed six-handed super stack. It was a $44 buy-in. Okay. Small blind, post 30, big blind, post 60. And four-handed, we get a cutoff open to 155. Okay, so he opens like, what was that, 2.5x, something like that. And we're on the button with kings. So if the cutoff opens to 155, we've got, we don't see color on this podcast, but we have 2 black kings. What are you thinking?
What's the stack sizes here?
Okay, stack sizes. Cutoff has 123 big blinds. We have 60. So effective stacks for this, spoiler alert, the blinds are going to fold. Effective stacks are going to be 60.
So like the 60 is, what are the blinds, 30 and 60? So you have like 3,800 chips to start this hand?
I've got 30, what was that, 3,600, yeah. And he's got 72.
Okay, what was the starting stack?
I believe 5K.
Okay. Always 3 betting here, obviously, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless there was a loon behind you who was like squeezing every hand and just tilted or whatever.
No, they're both pretty
Always 3 betting here.
29-14. What is this? 29-14. Wow, okay, they're both exactly the same.
3x, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, sizing. I went
65.
I thought I did 455. I did 425. I wonder why I went smaller. My normal there would be like 460, 470, something like that.
Okay.
But, okay, I went a little bit smaller. Maybe because I was on the button.
Well, you got kings. You don't mind action, obviously.
True. Okay. Well, I make it 425. I like yours though. If I could do it over, I would throw another 40 chips in there. Okay, so small blind folds, big blind folds, back to the cutoff, and he calls.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 940 in the pot, and we have 3188 behind. All right. Flop is king of hearts, 9 of hearts, 5 of clubs, and we've got 2 black kings. So flop the nuts. We don't have a heart, and cutoff checks.
I think I'm probably betting. If there was no flush draw out there, I think I'm checking. With the flush draw out there, I mean, that really shouldn't change the action too much. Yeah, maybe it's against. If this was an aggressive opponent, certainly I'm betting here, just because he might have some check range, check raise more, and be willing to float and that kind of thing. I'm probably just going to bet though. Bet small, 370 or something.
Okay. Well, your reasoning for betting here, like if it was a rainbow board, you would not bet.
Yeah, I mean, you still. This isn't really not. I'm betting here not really just for protection. Ultimately, I think when you have a flush draw, you can get called by more worse hands, backdoors and that kind of stuff. So you can get paid more frequently to charge them when you don't have the board quite as murdered. Yeah, it's hard to flop the nuts, man. You only get so many of these hands. You got to get max value. Yeah. I think that's what Alex would say here is you're always just, when you have nutty hands, you just don't get enough of them. You just have to play for stacks.
Okay.
You just can't slow play. You just got to get your chips in there and hope the guy has a decent target, some value, which you just hope he's on a strong, decent range or wants to make a play at it. So contradicting myself there.
No, you know what though? As you're saying this, I'm looking at this board and it's a little more coordinated than I originally saw. Queen Jack has a gut shot, 10 Jack has a gut shot, Queen 10 has a gut shot. There are flush draws, and then you've got 5, 6, 7 has a gut shot, 8, 7 has a gut shot. There's
right. Well,
we can get a small bet called here. In the moment I was thinking, okay, I just flopped the nuts. I've got this board killed. It's very unlikely that he has a king here. Let's try to let him catch up. But we can get called by kind of a lot. I don't think a 9 is ever folding to 300 or 400 here, right?
No, probably not. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to have a hand here because, you block everything. And Jack, even like jacks and queens, if you get sticky with those hands, he probably four bets frequently. I don't know how often, depending on your bet sizing, they're going to call with the gutter balls here. Like if you reach 7K deep, then I'm definitely c-betting to get some chips in there because I think he can float more frequently. And so it sounds like you decided to check.
I did, yeah. But I'm kind of liking a small bet here. Nothing too big because really, what's going to call you?
I've been told the most annoying thing about me, Steve, for people that this on this podcast, and of course I have many annoying things, is that I used to say I don't know with such frequency. But this is why I don't like strategy. I'm sure because I'm aware that there's people a lot smarter than me who do kind of know. But you just want to get more chips. So I think I'd be betting it quite frequently.
Okay. I like that. I check behind. So with
how many hands on this guy, by the way? Oh, the tournament's just starting, and this is Bovada.
14 hands. His VPIP is 50, PFR 21, but we're only four-handed too. So
again, there's some just quickly on the flop decision. There would be if you had a lot of stats on the guy, this would immediately would look to fold. I would look to the fold to see that stats of the villain here when I flop the nuts in this kind of spot.
Yeah.
Because if his fold to c-bet is super high, then he's not very floaty. He's probably not calling with the gutter balls. There I would be more likely to check just because he's so – I just need him to get the only way I'm going to get any money out of him is if he has a pair, hoping ace gets the turn or whatever. But, I think it's fine. So you check. What was the turn?
I check. Okay, so we got king of spades, king of clubs. The flop was king of hearts, nine of hearts, five of clubs, and the turn is the king of diamonds.
Wait a second. I'm confused. I thought you had pocket kings pre-flop.
I do.
Oh, okay.
We just turned quads.
Okay.
Yeah. So the board now is king, king, 9, 5, two hearts, and we have the other two kings. Villain checks.
I guess bet it. Although I think in spots like this, I've gotten paid by checking here, and then if checked to on the river, betting like 3.5x pot.
Ooh. Okay.
Make it look like it's just okay. We both have nothing. I'm just going to buy this, buddy, and then hope the guy somehow has a pair.
Okay.
It's a pair somewhere. That's worked for me before. Again, my tricks quotation mark. He probably just doesn't have much, so I don't know. Best way to get paid here is I guess I would bet small here.
I don't think he has queens like you said. He didn't aces or queens. He didn't four bet us. Jacks he may four bet or not, but I feel like jacks or tens. He's probably betting the turn here. I mean, when the second king comes and I check the flop, he's got to feel more confident, right?
Yep.
9. Would he bet a 9 here?
He might not even have a betting range here.
Okay.
I guess if he had pocket tens, he'd probably be betting for protection. But then he's out of position. He's vulnerable to a raise here. He has to fold to a raise if he for some reason has tens or a 9 or whatever.
Okay. But he'll definitely call with those hands if we bet now, right? He's never folding jacks, tens, or 9s there, right?
I think he's calling. He might be calling with any pair here, depending on your bet sizing.
That's what I was thinking. Because I 3-bet him, and then it goes check, 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 check. I mean, my hand kind of looks like ace jack or ace queen, right?
If you check it back on the turn as well.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said the second check.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's just so it's just hard for the guy to have anything here. I was just going to say you're probably just hoping to get one bet out of him. So the question is, where is he more likely to call, on the turn or the river? And of course, he might try to steal on the river too. but he's never check calling here to bluff the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think checking's fine, Steve.
Okay. I end up betting into 940. We got 3,100 behind. I bet 379. So I bet a little bit more in the third pot. And what I think I was basically trying to get called by any pair. Like I thought at this point he might even call with like pocket sevens or something. Maybe that's a little ambitious. But anyways, I bet 379 and he raises to 917. So now we got 2,800 behind. He made it 917. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I guess just flat. Is there a flush draw on the board now?
Yeah, there's 2 hearts out there. We don't have a heart. So it's king of diamonds, king of hearts, 9 of hearts, 5 of clubs. Then we got king of spades, king of clubs for quads.
Yeah, I guess just flat.
See, that's kind of what I was. I think he has like, I think he's got like a flush draw, nothing, or a 9, and he thinks he's got the best hand, or is trying to like figure out where he's at, or maybe he's got some combo draw like queen jack of hearts. But why wouldn't he have bet that on the flop or turn? That seems kind of weird.
I would. Again, how we do here would depend upon his bluffing frequency, which we really don't have all the information about that. If I thought he was bluffing here a lot, then obviously you just want to flat and give him another chance to bluff on the river. Yeah. But even if he has a value, or if you think this guy is kind of a nit and like, oh my God, he just hit. But the other thing, the stack to pot ratio, you can still get the money in on the river without raising here pretty easily. Yeah. So I think that probably cinches it for just calling, I think. Yeah, if we call here, there's going to be 27 in the middle, and we'll have 22 behind. Yeah, okay. Definitely just calling here. Okay. All right, we call. River is the 8 of clubs. So with pocket kings, the final board is king of hearts, king of diamonds, 9 of hearts, 8 of clubs, 5 of clubs. So the flush draw misses. I guess the only straight that would have made it would be 6-7, but that's unlikely. Yeah, at this point, we're just hoping this villain decides to shove it in with, or get, other than that, they could possibly have a full house and just got the cooler from hell. But you're just hoping the villain shoves it in here. Yeah. And the villain could put, at this point, your range could be, well, when you call a check raise, looks pretty damn strong. That's either you got a flush or you got a big pair that's probably not a king. A flush draw. Yeah. Yeah. So if the villain shoves river, they're just hoping if the flush misses, they shove river, they're just hoping you have more flush draw combinations than you have big pair combinations. Yeah. Or that they can get you to fold a big pair. Yeah, they're ripping. Which at that price, if they're at all sensible, they know they can't get you to fold a big pair that often because of the amount of chips in the pot. Yeah. But so what happened on the river? What did the villain do? He checks. Okay. So now it's on us. We got 27 in the middle. We got 22 behind. I mean, when he checks here, that really makes his turn bet or his turn raise look like a bluff, right? Yeah, I guess. Or like a 9. Or would he really raise a 9 there? Wouldn't he just call? Yeah.
If he had a boat, like if he flopped a set of fives and for whatever reason checked it twice and then raised, like, wouldn't he be betting this river with a boat?
Yes.
He can't have a king because we've got them all. We just have all the kings.
No, this person has a weak hand here. I think we
Right?
can both agree
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, we both agree.
Yeah, well, whether he has absolutely nothing or not, or if he's bluffing. So either way, in either of those spots, I'm probably, maybe for some people say, well, you got to shove for balance here. And also, yeah, I mean, if you're, the villain's going to view, if you shove river, the villain's certainly going to view it as very polarized, and they might hero call you with one pair. I don't know.
Yeah, if they rivered an 8 somehow, then maybe they had ace 8 of hearts and they rivered an 8 and they're like, he doesn't have anything. Like, you might get that, especially since he's got more chips. Like, if we shove here, he's still got like 4K in his stack, which is very workable at 30-60.
You could, yeah, a lot of these one pair hands, well, like we're saying, that we could put them on this. It's just, those just aren't hands you would check raise very frequently.
Yeah, true.
Check raise happens mostly with air, or a monster hand, which he just can't have here.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think,
I think he usually,
weak here.
I think usually he's got a busted draw or nothing here. So I think all we can do is bet really small and hope to get called, obviously. Well, I mean, the number one scenario, we bet small and then just hope maybe for some reason he wigs out and shoves.
Okay. I thought exactly the same thing. We have to bet small here, and hopefully it looks like we're just trying to buy it with a busted flush draw or something, and he either reads it as weakness and just ships it, or we get the curiosity call from like pocket sixes or something. Does that sound valid?
Yeah. I just, it's hard to see. I mean, I just, if you get paid here, if you bet super small and he calls with a 9, you're going to be kind of ticked off, because I think if you shove there, he probably has to call as the hand's played, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have. I don't know, Steve. What of your? I guess you're just, of all the if we range him here, we think he's just has a misdraw most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Or yeah, I guess it could be a 9 played. I bet small. I bet even smaller than the turn. The pot is now 2,700.
Yeah, 27 in the middle. We have 22 behind.
I'm gonna bet like 580.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if. Yeah, it's just they probably going to call with a spike call you with any pair.
Okay. All right. I went 356 into 2,700. So
okay, I like
15%, something like that. Maybe I could have got a little more. I was trying to get either a spaz or a curious call. You know, like, it's so small that like I just got to know what this guy has here. I know I'm losing, but I'm going to call anyways just to see. And he did call, and he had ace queen with the ace of hearts. So we win obviously with quads, but
I guess he was going to rep he was going to shove heart on the river, rep it maybe with the blocker or something.
Yeah. I bet if that was the 8 of hearts instead of the 8 of clubs, I bet we get his whole stack.
I mean,
makes me wonder, did I miss value on the flop though? I like your bet on the flop, just something small, even though we flop the nuts. There's a lot of combo draws in there, and when the guy's sitting around with the ace of hearts and the queen of diamonds, that flop has potential, you know.
You probably, as played though, you probably got more of it, because if you bet flop, he probably maybe calls with the he possibly calls with the backdoor flush and the backdoor Broadway and the over. But
he doesn't do that turn bluff.
But he doesn't check raise if you bet the turn. Yeah, if he calls the flop, he's probably just check folding the turn.
Yeah.
where because you check back here, you did give him a chance to bluff the turn.
I did set myself up, though. If we get a jack, queen, or 10 on the turn, then the hand is, I mean, we're not getting away from it, but the hand, I could have just given it to him.
Yeah.
You know, but.
Sounds like you played it okay, Steve. I don't think there's any way, there was no way to stack him there.
He tank called when I only bet 350.
Yeah, it's annoying. He wasn't really tanking. He knew he was going to call. He was just cursing at the computer screen.
Yeah, he's like, I got to know what this guy has. But see, little spots like that though add up. I mean, like that's 6 big blinds right there. You know, so at this level, you get to see like 4 rotations that you didn't before, just by making that one little value bet on the river, even though it's so small. You know, yeah. Well, anyways, that was my hand. I wanted to pick your brain on it. I thought it was kind of cute that it was quads.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Good deal. Well,
ready to say goodbye, Stevie?
Yes, sir, I am. It was cool talking to you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
Don't even use the word commit. Don't even think about the word discipline. Just do the thing every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Your only commitment is to the activity, not to the grand scheme, not to the big picture, not to the implications of what it is that you're doing. It's to do the thing. Habits are the building blocks of our lives, not the goals or the grand schemes or the vision or the big idea. It's what you fucking do every single day that matters more than anything. Develop good habits that will carry you through to having a very successful life.
There are 2 types of people in the world. There are those who fight the uncomfortable and those who can face the uncomfortable.
What makes you comfortable can ruin you, and what makes you uncomfortable is the only way to grow.
Nothing great comes from a position of comfort.
Safety, comfort zones are dead zones. You either continue to push yourself.
Yes, we tired. Yes, we're hungry. Yes, the mind is saying give up. Yes, it's saying quit. But we cannot quit because we realize we have not reached the goal yet. This is not what I dreamed about. This is not what I said I was going to do. This is not what it looks like. I got to squeeze. And then once we get past that place, we become comfortable with being uncomfortable. We no longer thrive to be in the comfort zone.
Nothing worthwhile is easy to get. And if you could get used to being uncomfortable, your limits are non-existent.
I want to win so bad.